Menopause Monday. Today is my 15th edition and I'm talking about hot flushes as we call them in the UK, and what we can eat to help us cope with them, and also a few foods to avoid. Also towards the end I've got 3 things that you may not have actually heard of before that are beneficial. Is it 3 or 4? Go through it in a minute. Brain fog. It's just one of the things of menopause. So yeah, hot flashes, foods that we can eat, foods we should avoid, and also just becoming aware. So I don't know if you've watched any of my previous IGTVs. In fact, number 9 goes into more of the sort of scientific biological effects of hot flashes and the menopause, why we get them, etc. So if you want to dip into that, just pop back to my IGTV. It's number 9. They all do have like a little message on them, so they're easy to find. And I think from my own personal experience, certainly hot flashes get worse when I'm either thirsty. I've noticed that is the thing that sets me off the worst. If I'm hungry, which is my body probably responding to a drop in my blood sugar level, and also if I get a bit stressy, it can set them off. Normally it's diet related, whether I'm thirsty or whether I'm hungry. I also, which actually spurred me on to do this particular episode today, I cooked myself a really tasty chicken madras the other night, and that night I woke up several times with hot flashes. And normally, I mean, now I think I've sort of worked out my lifestyle well enough to really knock them down. In fact, I don't even know if I've had one today yet. So, on the whole, they're getting a lot better. And I do think that perimenopause is probably the worst time for hot flashes. As you go through into postmenopause, actually they're not quite so bad. They do eventually move away, which would be really thankful to hear if you are in the thick of it, because I remember mine were literally it would happen and I could feel sweat dripping down my back. It was just awful. But funnily enough, I'm pretty sure I went back over what I'd eaten that day, and I think it was spices. And a lot of people say spices can set off hot flashes. For me, I think that's what the issue was. I bunged in a load. I felt like I was fighting off a cold. And when I feel like I'm fighting off a cold, I tend to cook a curry at home, because obviously the spices are so good for you. But that could well be what set off my hot flashes that evening. So just be aware of that. Caffeine is another one. Alcohol is another one. Refined carbs, sugar, all that kind of stuff puts us into nutritional stress, and stress of any kind stimulates what it's called is our sympathetic nervous system, which puts our body into fight and flight. And it doesn't matter whether that nervous system has been stimulated, or sympathetic nervous system has been stimulated by somebody running at you with a knife, or whether it's because you're hungry. Your body still goes into stress. It releases cortisol, releases adrenaline, and those can trigger hot flashes too. So you want to be avoiding those sorts of things. But I mean, it's pretty simple. It boils down to pretty much healthy eating and drinking, making sure you stay really well hydrated. Now, thank you for the heart. To work out how much you need to be drinking, you weigh yourself in pounds, then you divide that answer by 2, and that is the result in fluid ounces that you should be drinking every day in water as a minimum. So say if you weigh 140 pounds, you need to be drinking at least 70 fluid ounces of water on a daily basis. If you're having loads of hot flashes, you want to probably up that. If you live in a hot country, you need to up that. If you do a lot of heavy duty work or exercise, you need to increase the amount of water that you take too. So water, for me, is my biggest trigger for a hot flash. I keep calling them flashes now. I've got used to it because I deal with so many people in the States and Canada. I've kind of left my English flush away. Also, it's really important that we get healthy balance of the 3 main food groups are carbs, healthy carbs, which also includes fruits and vegetables in that category, lean protein and healthy fats. So ideally we need to be working around 40% carbs, 30% fats, 30% lean protein. I know people are going to say, oh yeah, but I follow a low carb diet. Yeah, but this also includes veggies and fruit. So everybody should be eating way more vegetables than we do. they're so full of phytonutrients, which are beneficial. They're anti-inflammatory in our body, as are fruits. You want to try and be eating a wide range of colours. If you're eating fruits, try and go for more berries, things like that, because they're lower in sugar. And they just jam packed with phytonutrients, antioxidants, and things that are just help our bodies fight against free radicals, help to protect our DNA, help to protect our cells, help us to regenerate, because we're constantly, our metabolic processes are constantly breaking down parts of our body, and obviously as we get older, that happens a little bit more often as things start to move south. So it's really important. Cruciferous vegetables are incredibly good. They contain a lot of phytochemicals which help the body respond to stresses as well, and just keep us in peak fitness. Protein, I try and eat a good combination of meat protein, fish protein, and vegetable protein, from legumes and beans and things like that. The problem for me, as much as I love eating vegan, is I actually respond really badly to legumes and beans and even some cruciferous vegetables. They make me really, really gassy. So I do have some lean meat protein too. I love animals. Yes, I might be a bit hypocritical. I think we need to completely overhaul how we manage our animals that are bred for food. But at the end of the day, we have teeth, evolutionary teeth for animals, and I think animal meat benefits me. So, take it or leave it. I try and eat a balanced diet, but I do think we need to overhaul how we look after our animals. But you want to be making sure that you're eating lean protein, and base it. If you do eat meat, try and make sure that you're buying meat that has been reared on grass or has been allowed to roam outside, because we'll go into fats in a minute, but lean protein that's been raised on grass has the right kind of healthy fats and proteins in it compared to animals that have been raised on grain, which is not so good. So maybe reduce the amount of meat that you eat, but eat healthier meat. Make sure it's reared well. Obviously that goes into ethics again as well. Same with hens and eggs. Make sure you are buying pasture raised eggs, or eggs from pasture raised hens. What's the other classification? Not free range. It's a very, very wide definition, and it actually means not an awful lot. And if you're one of those hens that is one of 2,000 in a massive barn that has access through a tiny door to outside, that is also called free range. So pasture raised is what you want, or if you're in the UK, the Soil Association raised or approved eggs. Again, especially if they're organic, you've got a happy hen laying happy eggs, which are also full of the right omega-3s that we need. So lean meat is incredibly important. Fish also is very, very good. And so moving on to healthy fats, you want to be having, saturated fats get a bad rap. There's nothing wrong with saturated fats, just don't eat too many of them. Coconut oil is incredibly good for you, so is butter, so is olive oil. If you cook with those, they have different flash points for cooking with, and in fact I've got a document, if you want that goes over those oils and what are best at which temperatures for cooking with, and it sort of breaks down the not the ingredients, how good they are for you. Brain fog is really getting me right now. And so if you want that, let me know. Send me a private message. I'll get that document across to you. It's just a short document, but it's actually quite helpful. So yeah, it's really important to have a good balance of healthy fats. Our brain, I think it's about 65% of our brain is made of fat. We need fat for our nervous system. We need fat to transport the nerve messages throughout our body. It's absolutely vital. And of course, it helps to flesh us out, but I'm not saying that makes you you don't want to be looking fat, but it does help give your skin, it helps to protect you if you've got some fat under your skin. We are designed to have fat under our skin. It's incredibly, incredibly important. Also, our steroidal hormones, so our sex hormones, rely upon cholesterol in order to work, be released within the body correctly, and also to allow certain fatty molecules into our cells, which are just so vital. Also helps to keep you full. I mean, protein and fat will keep you fuller for longer. You'll find that people that try and cut fat out of their diet, they're frazzled because their brains are wired, but you'll be tending to reach for the carbs, and probably more often the refined carbs, for that quick hit, which is not a good thing. So you want healthy fats. Now, omega-3s and omega-6s, this is a big thing. We tend to eat way more omega-6s than we should be eating, and we don't eat enough omega-3s. Omega-3s come from like fatty fish, so anchovies, herrings, salmon, tuna, that sort of thing. Eggs, healthy eggs, grass-raised or pasture-raised eggs, hens, eggs from pasture-raised hens, and we need more omega-3s. They're anti-inflammatory in our body, help to repair cells, help to keep our immune system boosted. Omega-6s tend to be, well, there's quite a lot of evidence that points to them being inflammatory, but then there's some conflicting evidence that says they're not inflammatory. However, they are not anti-inflammatory. So omega-3s are definitely what you want to be focusing on. Now, again, if you're vegan, your chia seeds are a fantastic source of omega-3, so are flax seeds. But they're only short chain, they're AHA. They are the short chain omega-3 fatty acids. We need DHA and EPA in our body. So when we're eating the AHA, so the short chain fatty acids, our body then has to convert them into the long chain fatty acids. And when we convert it, it's something like between 1 and 10% that actually gets converted. So that means you have to eat a whole lot more chia seeds and flax seeds to get those omega-3s. It might be worth, I don't know how vegans manage to get enough omega-3s in their diets, the right type of omega-3s. I don't know if there's like a vegan formula of fish-based, omega-3s. I don't know. I'm not 100% vegan, so it's not a concern of mine, but if you are vegan, it's something you really need to look at, because omega-3s long term are so good for our health on so many different levels. What else is there I wanted to say? And then, the things that are going to be really beneficial, the things you may not be aware of, and these have been scientifically proven. I spent quite a bit of time today going into various studies just to make sure they've been corroborated, and they have. I found the proper scientific stuff behind them. So rhubarb root, it's been proven to really drastically reduce the amount of hot flashes that you get. I mean, that's incredible. You can get it in supplement form. I've never used it before because it's something I've only just realised exists. I love rhubarb. So trot along to your health food shop and ask them about rhubarb and see, give it a go. Apparently in the first week, it doesn't make much of an impact, but from weeks 2 to 4, there was a big difference seen in people taking the rhubarb root. And then from weeks 4 to 8, an enormous difference. So stick with it. If you're going to have rhubarb, assume that you're going to have it for quite a period of time before you're actually going to notice anything significant happening or significant improvement with your hot flashes. The next one is maca. Now, maca is a Peruvian crop grown in the Andes, way above the vegetation line, and because it sort of survives in such a harsh environment, when we eat maca root, or normally in powder form, when we eat maca, we get also that availability to deal with stressors. So I have it in powder form. It's part of my daily shake that I have. I just went to have a look at my packet actually to see what it suggests, how much it suggests you have, and there is no guideline on there. And again, when I was looking today, there is no specific, nobody sort of seems to say you need a tablespoon or a teaspoon. I think it's because it's one of those things that we all respond differently, and I would start with a teaspoon and work up until you find your happy point. And I doubt you would need more than a tablespoon. I think probably maybe 2 teaspoons, maybe 3 teaspoons of maca. It's got quite an earthy, nutty flavour to it. I actually really like it. But you can put it in your shakes, or you can put it in like a yogurt or anything, just to hide it. You might even it'd probably be quite nice in some coffee with maybe turmeric and a cinnamon stick. That's what my afternoon coffee consists of: coffee, soya milk. Oh, I'll go into soya in a minute. Coffee, soya milk, a teaspoon of turmeric, and half a cinnamon stick. So I'd probably put my maca in there because I think it would actually enhance the coffee even more. So that, and in fact, it's known as Peruvian Viagra, and it's because it contains something that, it's arginine, I think it is, that creates nitric oxide in the body. I think I'm getting that right, which is what Viagra contains, and so it is known as Peruvian Viagra. It's been used for years in Peru. If anything's wrong with you, they say have maca. But it does on so many different levels, and not just hot flashes, bone health, mood swings, anxiety, helps give you energy, helps combat fatigue. So maca is one of those things that I don't think you can go wrong in trying. The next one is sage. Sage is part of the mint family, and again, you can use it in essential oil, or you can have it in tea format, and I would imagine that's just boiling up some sage leaves off a bush in your garden, or you can have it in your stuffing. Sage and onion stuffing. That's the only version I know. I often cook sage with chicken because I know that sage is so beneficial for us. But I'm actually going to start to brew some sage leaves up with some hot water and see what it's like in tea, or maybe even add some sage leaves to my regular cup of tea. See what the flavour's like. Again, it's been proven to be so beneficial. So it's if hot flashes are something that are bothering you a lot, it's definitely well worth looking into it. There's quite a bit of written out about, before I want to go off sage, if you use essential oils, I know a lot of people put essential oils on their skin on oil. Some people also use them internally. And there is a warning against sage essential oils if you actually swallow it. I think something like 12 drops is quite damaging. So you want to be careful with sage. Also maca and thyroid. If you've got thyroid issues, you want to chat to your health advisor before you have maca, because it can work negatively alongside a thyroid that doesn't work well. If your thyroid works well, it's not an issue, but if you have got thyroid problems, just watch out with maca. And then yes, of course, sage, and then of course magnesium is the other one. Now magnesium is our fourth most important mineral in the body, and it affects so many different aspects of it, but it's incredibly important to have enough magnesium to regulate our hot flashes. It's also known as the relaxation. It calms, a relaxing hormone, relaxing mineral. It helps to calm us down as well. So, that's why Epsom salt baths are so beneficial if you've got like tight muscles, because that contains magnesium, but it also just helps to relax the body on the whole. So both mental and physical relaxation. So magnesium's ever so important. People talk about taking between 310 to 350 milligrams daily. Again, I would have a chat with your health advisor just before you commit to a supplement, or just try a small amount and see how it works. Often people say when they start to take magnesium supplements, it also helps them to sleep better. So I think, it's just because we're all different, because hormones are such an erratic, volatile part of our existence. And, you might have, especially if you're perimenopausal, it could be that your estrogen's down and your progesterone's up, or vice versa. And obviously they're both very volatile during the perimenopause years. So I think it's a matter of just sort of try it out and see what works best for you. But certainly if you are having really serious hot flashes, I would track your food that you're eating daily. I would track the amount of water that you're drinking, and also, if you drink regularly through the day, that's fine. If you're one of these people that maybe has a small glass of water in the morning and then sort of guzzles a bit at night because you know you've not had enough. Track when you're having your water, track how much you're sleeping, track how often you're going to the toilet, because again, you know, that adds to stress within the body. If you're constipated, that's not going to be helping you on a physical level either. So, you know, if you're under any kind of stress in the body, it's going to trigger that sympathetic response, which means that your body's going to release cortisol and adrenaline, which then might lead to a hot flash. So if you're tracking what you're eating and drinking and your sleep and your bowel movements, it's going to make it a lot easier to see what works and what doesn't work for you. Like I've said at the beginning of this, I'm sure it was eating my chicken madras, as much as I love curries, that set my hot flashes off that night, because I think I must have woken up with about 4, and I rarely wake up these days with a hot flash. I think I've got it down to a T, and because I'm so aware of what I'm eating these days, it was either that or it was a slice of mango that I had later. I don't often have any fruit after my meal either, and that was one night I did. And I wasn't sure whether it was the mango or the spices, but I think it was probably the spices. So I might try it out again soon. I will be observant when I have a curry next time, because I love curry, so I certainly will be eating another one or two. So I hope that's been helpful. Like I said at the beginning, IGTV number 9 goes into hot flashes in more of sort of biological scientific way. But I think it's just really important to, if they're really affecting you, there's a lot that you can do with what you're eating and your lifestyle in general. Make sure you're getting enough sleep too, because when we're sleep deprived, it puts our body into that stress response again, and that is what also will set off hot flashes. It will also probably make you want to reach for unhealthy carbs, you know, like the quick fixes, so the biscuits, the crisps, the sugary stuff, the refined stuff, which is the stuff you really need to be avoiding. And try and make sure that you're eating regularly throughout the day. People say you should just have 3 standard meals a day. Our nutrition programs work more along 3 reasonable meals a day, and each of those has a healthy serving of a combination of fats, proteins and veggies. But I also think you might want 1 or 2 healthy snacks throughout the day. And in fact, a really healthy snack, one you can make at home, it takes literally 5 minutes to do. Get some dates, and dates are absolutely fantastic. They're super high in fiber. They've got really good minerals in them. They've got and vitamins. They are slow release into your blood sugar because of all the fiber. They're one of the best dried fruits that you can eat, and they also taste delicious. So get some dates, get some chia seeds, omega-3s, albeit short chain omega-3s, but I don't think you want meat in a healthy snack bowl. So chia seeds or flax seeds, dates, you could put some blueberries in it or cranberries in it, you know, a fruit that you like. And I also put a tiny dash of Himalayan rock salt in. I also put some chili in mine because I actually quite like chili. I also put some dark cacao nibs in, raw cacao nibs. Dark chocolate's incredibly good for us. And rather than eating like a cube of dark chocolate, I have a big bag of the raw cacao nibs. They're lovely. Oh, they're delicious. They're very bitter. You wouldn't want to eat many of them, but they're incredibly high in antioxidants, and they're crunchy. So I stick those in those balls and literally just roll them up into little balls. I stick mine in the deep freeze. They last for ages. And if I'm hungry or when I want one, I just pick one out. If you don't like yours frozen, just stick them in the fridge, and then you can keep them in a container, and they're there to go whenever you need them. And you probably, the balls, I make them about that sort of size, and you probably just need one. And that will keep you going because it's got the healthy fats and the fiber and the antioxidants and things in it like that will just see you through to your next meal. I just wanted to say one more thing about maca. Make sure that when you buy maca powder, it's organic and it's Peruvian, because there's a lot of maca coming onto the market now that's being produced in China, and they're not growing it at the elevation that it's grown in Peru, so it doesn't have that adaptogenic herb element to it. And it's that adaptogenic herb element that makes maca so incredible for us to manage with stressors into the body. So just beware. Organic, Peruvian maca is the stuff that you want. You can get it in so many different places. You can probably get it on Amazon as well. I buy a big bulk of it from my local health store. If you're in the UK, I use Grape Tree online. They're tremendous value, and I think if you order over £30 or £35, it's free delivery too, and they are absolutely fantastic. I cannot fault them. I get all my chia seeds, I get my omega-3 mix, I get my cacao nibs from there, I get my coconut oil from there, I get my maca powder from there, I get beetroot powder from there, all the healthy stuff. I cannot recommend them highly enough. By the way, I don't get anything for recommending them, but they are really, really good. So go for that if you're in the UK. I'm not sure if they're over in the States or in Canada. So anyway, I hope that worked. Hey, hi Sylvie, nice to see you too. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions about what I've gone over today, obviously send me a message or leave me a comment. And if you've got anything specific that you would like me to cover in future episodes, again, send me a message and I'll make sure to include that in my upcoming list of Menopause Mondays. So hope that was helpful, and I will catch you soon.